Somewhere in a classified facility, engineers are building a fighter jet so advanced it makes the F-22 Raptor look like nothing. The United States Air Force has just awarded Boeing the contract to develop the F-47 NGAD, the world's first sixth-generation stealth fighter, with first flight scheduled for 2028. This is a complete revolution in air warfare, and what's coming will change everything you thought you knew about air dominance. In March 2025, the United States Air Force made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the defense community worldwide. Boeing had been selected as the prime contractor for the next-generation air dominance program's crewed fighter platform, officially designated the F-47. This wasn't just another procurement decision. This was the starting gun for the most ambitious fighter aircraft program in human history, a program that promises to redefine what air superiority means in the modern age. The story of NGAD doesn't begin in 2025, though. It traces its roots back to 2014, when DARPA launched something called the Air Dominance Initiative. Back then, military strategists were looking at the battlefield of the future and realizing something troubling. The F-22 Raptor, America's premier air superiority fighter, was already facing potential obsolescence against emerging threats from China and Russia. The F-35, still being rolled out, was designed primarily as a multi-role strike fighter, not a dedicated air dominance platform. The question became obvious: what comes next? What emerged from those early discussions was revolutionary. Instead of thinking about the next great fighter jet, defense planners began conceptualizing something they called a family of systems. Imagine not just one incredible aircraft, but an entire ecosystem of manned fighters, unmanned drones, advanced sensors, electronic warfare capabilities, and artificial intelligence, all networked together into a single, devastating combat force. The F-47 NGAD represents the centerpiece of this vision, the quarterback calling the plays in the most lethal aerial formation ever conceived. To understand just how groundbreaking this approach is, we need to step back and look at how fighter aircraft development has traditionally worked. Throughout aviation history, each new generation of fighters focused primarily on improving the performance of individual aircraft. The first generation brought jet propulsion. The second generation added swept wings and supersonic capability. The third generation introduced guided missiles and look-down, shoot-down radar. The fourth generation brought fly-by-wire controls, advanced avionics, and beyond visual range combat. The fifth generation added stealth and unprecedented sensor fusion. But here's where NGAD breaks the mold completely. Sixth generation isn't primarily about making a better individual fighter. It's about creating a network system where multiple platforms, both manned and unmanned, work together in ways that were impossible before. It's about leveraging artificial intelligence, not just to help pilots, but to fundamentally change how air operations are conducted. It's about moving from platform-centric warfare to network-centric warfare, where the whole becomes dramatically greater than the sum of its parts. Now here's where things get really interesting. The Boeing F-47 isn't just incrementally better than what came before. We're talking about quantum leaps in technology across every conceivable dimension. The stealth capabilities alone push beyond anything currently flying. Engineers have developed next-generation radar-absorbing materials and airframe shaping techniques that make the aircraft nearly invisible to even the most advanced detection systems. We're talking about a level of low observability that would allow this fighter to penetrate the most heavily defended airspace on Earth and emerge undetected. But stealth is just the beginning. The F-47 will be powered by Pratt & Whitney's next-generation adaptive propulsion engines. We're talking about variable cycle power plants that can dynamically adjust their operation to optimize for different flight regimes. What does that mean in practical terms? It means the F-47 can supercruise, traveling faster than the speed of sound without using afterburners, for extended periods while maintaining incredible fuel efficiency. It means better thermal management, which is crucial for stealth. It means range and endurance that would make current generation fighters weep with envy. These adaptive cycle engines represent years of research and development by Pratt & Whitney. building on lessons learned from earlier variable cycle experiments. The basic concept involves an engine that can adjust its bypass ratio in flight, essentially changing from a high-thrust, low-efficiency configuration for combat maneuvers to a high-efficiency, longer-range configuration for cruising. This flexibility means the F-47 doesn't have to compromise between speed and range the way traditional fighters do. It can have both, switching between modes as the tactical situation demands. The thermal management aspect is particularly critical for a stealth aircraft. Heat signatures from engines and skin friction can be just as revealing as radar returns if you're not careful. The F-47's propulsion system includes advanced cooling technologies that minimize infrared signatures, making it harder for enemy heat-seeking missiles and infrared search and track systems to detect and target the aircraft. Combined with careful design of the exhaust nozzles to mix hot engine gases with cooler ambient air, the F-47 presents a minimal thermal footprint, even when operating at high thrust settings. The sensor suite on the F-47 represents another massive leap forward. Imagine having 360-degree awareness of everything happening around you for hundreds of miles in every direction. Multiple sensor arrays working across different spectrums, from radar to infrared to electronic signals, all feeding data into artificial intelligence systems that fuse everything together into a single, crystal-clear tactical picture. The pilot doesn't just see the battlefield, they comprehend it at a level that would have seemed impossible just a decade ago. Let's break down what that actually means in practice. The F-47 carries multiple radar arrays, not just a traditional nose-mounted radar, but additional arrays integrated into the wings and fuselage, providing coverage in all directions. This allows the aircraft to track threats from any angle without having to maneuver to point the nose at them. A massive tactical advantage in complex, multi-threat environments. The radar systems themselves use advanced active electronically scanned array technology with low probability of intercept modes, meaning the F-47 can scan for threats while minimizing the chance that enemy forces detect the radar emissions. Beyond radar, the F-47 integrates sophisticated infrared search and track systems, electronic warfare receivers that can detect and classify enemy radar and communication signals, and data link systems that allow it to receive sensor data from other friendly platforms, including satellites, other aircraft, ground stations, and those collaborative combat aircraft we'll discuss shortly. All of this information flows into the mission computer system, where artificial intelligence algorithms process it, identify threats and opportunities, prioritize targets, and present the pilot with a comprehensive picture that would be impossible for any human to assemble manually in the heat of combat. And speaking of artificial intelligence, this is where the F-47 truly enters the realm of the revolutionary. The onboard AI doesn't just help with sensor fusion, it actively assists the pilot in threat detection, targeting prioritization, and decision-making. In the chaos of modern air combat, where split-second decisions mean the difference between victory and a death, the AI acts as a co-pilot, processing vast amounts of data and presenting the pilot with actionable intelligence. This dramatically reduces cognitive load, allowing human pilots to focus on strategy and execution rather than getting overwhelmed by information. But here's something that most people don't fully appreciate about the F-47 NGAD program. The aircraft itself, as advanced as it is, represents only part of the equation. Remember that family of systems concept we talked about earlier? The F-47 is designed from the ground up to command and control a fleet of unmanned collaborative combat aircraft, or CCAs. These aren't simple drones. These are sophisticated unmanned fighters that will fly in formation with the F-47, taking orders from the pilot and executing complex combat missions. The CCA concept represents perhaps the most innovative aspect of the entire NGAD program. The F-47 pilot doesn't just fly their own aircraft. Through advanced interfaces and AI assistance, they command a small fleet of unmanned aircraft that accompany them into combat. These CCAs might be flying ahead, probing enemy defenses, or hanging back, providing sensor coverage and additional firepower. They can be tasked individually or as a group, carrying out missions that would be too risky for a manned platform, or simply multiplying the combat power that a single pilot can bring to bear. The CCAs themselves come in different variants optimized for different missions. Some might be configured primarily for air-to-air combat, carrying missiles and engaging enemy fighters under the F-47 pilot's direction. Others might be electronic warfare platforms, carrying powerful jammers and electronic attack systems to suppress enemy air defenses and disrupt enemy communications. Still others might be optimized for strike missions, carrying precision-guided weapons to attack ground targets. Some might even be specialized for reconnaissance and surveillance, loitering over areas of interest and providing persistent sensor coverage. The Air Force is planning to acquire approximately 200 manned F-47 fighters, paired with over 1,000 CCAs. Do the math and you're looking at a force multiplier effect that fundamentally changes the calculus of air warfare. This isn't about having better fighters than the enemy. This is about having a completely different kind of Air Force. One that operates according to principles the enemy doesn't even understand yet. But the implications go even deeper than raw numbers. The CCA program is intentionally designed to be more affordable and faster to develop than manned fighters. This means the Air Force can potentially field new CCA variants with updated technology more quickly than they could upgrade manned aircraft. If a new threat emerges or a new capability becomes available, engineers can potentially design, test, and field a new CCA variant in a fraction of the time it would take to upgrade the F-47 itself. This creates an adaptability and evolution speed that's completely new in fighter aviation. But if the United States Air Force has been secretly flying a full-scale NGAD demonstrator aircraft since 2020, years before the official contract award, and if that demonstrator reportedly incorporated technologies and capabilities that surprised even veteran test pilots and engineers who've flown everything from the SR-71 Blackbird to the F-22 Raptor, what exactly did they build in secret that could surprise people who've seen it all? What did that aircraft demonstrate that was so revolutionary it convinced the Air Force to bet the future of American air dominance on this approach? And more importantly, how much more advanced is the actual production F-47 going to be compared to that already groundbreaking demonstrator that flew 5 years ago? Okay, let's understand how the NGAD program actually works. That 2020 demonstrator flight wasn't just a one-off prototype. It was a full-scale proof of concept that validated the core technologies and design approaches that would go into the F-47. According to limited information that's trickled out from Air Force officials, this demonstrator aircraft successfully proved out several critical capabilities. It demonstrated the next-generation stealth shaping and materials. It validated the advanced sensor fusion architecture. It tested the propulsion systems under real flight conditions. Most importantly, it proved that the manned-unmanned teaming concept actually works in practice, not just in theory. What makes this demonstrator program particularly remarkable is the level of secrecy that surrounded it. In an era where satellites can photograph military bases from orbit and enthusiasts track military aircraft movements in real time, the Air Force managed to develop, build, and fly a full-scale 6th-generation fighter demonstrator without anyone outside the program knowing about it until after the fact. That's an impressive feat of security and compartmentalization that speaks to just how seriously the Air Force takes this program. But here's what makes this even more significant. The demonstrator was intentionally built using what defense engineers call an open systems architecture. This means the aircraft was designed from the beginning to accept modular upgrades and technology insertions without requiring massive redesigns. So when you ask how much more advanced the production F-47 will be compared to that 2020 demonstrator, the answer is substantially more advanced, because engineers have had 5 additional years to refine the technologies, mature the systems, and incorporate lessons learned. The production F-47 will benefit from improved processing power, more sophisticated AI algorithms, more mature stealth materials, and more refined aerodynamics. That demonstrator proved the concept. the F-47 perfects it. Think about what this means in practical terms. Between 2020 and 2025, computing technology has continued advancing at a rapid pace. The processors and AI chips available today are significantly more powerful than what existed when the demonstrator flew. The production F-47 can leverage these advances, incorporating more sophisticated sensor fusion algorithms, more capable AI co-pilot systems, and more advanced electronic warfare capabilities. The demonstrator proved the airframe design and basic systems work. The production version optimizes everything and adds capabilities that weren't even possible 5 years ago. Now, the truly fascinating part is what this tells us about the Air Force's acquisition strategy. Unlike traditional fighter programs that spend decades in development before flying a prototype, NGAD flipped the script. They built and flew the demonstrator early, validated the core concepts, then moved quickly into engineering and manufacturing development. This approach, sometimes called rapid prototyping, allows them to fail fast, learn quickly, and avoid some of the cost overruns and schedule delays that plagued programs like the F-35. It's a fundamentally different way of building fighter aircraft. And if it works, it could revolutionize how America develops military technology. The traditional approach to fighter development involved years of paper studies, wind tunnel testing, and subsystem development before metal was cut for a prototype. By the time the first aircraft flew, the design was largely frozen, making it difficult and expensive to incorporate new technologies or fix fundamental design flaws discovered during testing. The F-35 program suffered from this approach, with critical design decisions locked in early that came back to haunt the program later, driving costs up and schedules out. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Most of the public discussion about NGAD has focused on it as a fighter aircraft, a platform designed primarily for air-to-air combat and air superiority missions. That makes sense given that it's positioned as the F-22 replacement. But if you dig into the actual program requirements and operational concepts, something very different emerges. The F-47 isn't being designed primarily as a fighter in the traditional sense at all. What the Air Force is actually building is something closer to a deep penetrating, multi-domain battle manager that happens to be capable of engaging enemy aircraft. The primary mission of the F-47 isn't to dogfight with Chinese J-20s, although it can certainly do that. The primary mission is to penetrate deep into contested airspace, coordinate multiple unmanned platforms across different domains, manage the electromagnetic spectrum, process vast amounts of intelligence data, and enable the entire joint force to operate effectively in an environment where traditional command and control would be impossible. Think about what that means. The F-47 is essentially a flying command post, a quarterback that coordinates not just air assets, but potentially contributes to maritime and land operations as well. Those CCAs we talked about, some of them might carry air-to-air missiles, sure, but others might be optimized for electronic attack, others for signals intelligence, others for strike missions against ground targets, and still others for anti-ship missions or suppression of enemy air defenses. The F-47 pilot becomes something more than just a fighter jockey. They become a multi-domain warfare coordinator, orchestrating a complex symphony of capabilities across the battle space. This explains several things that seem puzzling about the program. It explains why the sensor suite is so sophisticated, far beyond what you'd need for simple air-to-air combat. It explains the emphasis on communication systems and battle management capabilities. It explains why the Air Force is so committed to open architecture, because they want to be able to plug in new systems and capabilities as threats evolve and as joint force requirements change. The F-47 isn't the end state. It's a platform designed to evolve and adapt over its service life in ways that traditional fighters never could. It also explains the price tag. Yes, these aircraft are going to be expensive. Some estimates suggest per unit cost could rival or exceed the F-22's legendary expense, potentially reaching $200 million or more per aircraft when development costs are amortized. But when you realize you're not just buying a fighter, You're buying a multi-domain battle management platform that multiplies the effectiveness of everything else in the joint force. Suddenly, the investment calculus looks very different. One F-47 with its CCAs might provide more combat capability in a contested environment than an entire squadron of current generation fighters. So, if the F-47 NGAD and its associated systems represent such a massive technological and operational leap forward, if China and Russia are also developing their own sixth-generation concepts and next-generation air defense systems specifically designed to counter American air superiority, if the timeline has first flight in 2028, but initial operational capability not until the early 2030s, which means full operational deployment might not happen until the mid to late 2030s or beyond. And if history shows that major weapons programs rarely go exactly according to plan, what happens during that critical gap period when the F-22 fleet is aging and shrinking from its peak of 187 aircraft to potentially far fewer operational jets, while adversary capabilities are rapidly advancing? How does the Air Force maintain air dominance during this vulnerable transition period before NGAD reaches full operational capability? And what's the fallback plan if the NGAD program encounters the same kind of cost overruns, technical challenges, and schedule delays that plagued the F-35 program and threaten to derail that entire effort? Well, firstly, the Air Force is investing heavily in upgrading and modernizing the existing F-22 Raptor fleet. We're talking about new mission computers, upgraded sensors, improved weapons capabilities, and enhanced electronic warfare systems. The goal is to keep the Raptor relevant and lethal through the 2030s and beyond, ensuring there's no capability gap as NGAD comes online. The F-22 modernization program is far more extensive than most people realize. The aircraft is receiving what amounts to a complete avionics overhaul, replacing 1990s-era processors and software with modern systems that can interface with other platforms and process sensor data far more effectively. New data links allow the F-22 to share information with F-35s, other F-22s, and potentially even with CCAs in the future. Upgraded radar modes and electronic warfare systems keep the Raptor's sensors competitive with newer threats. Even the weapons loadout is being expanded, with integration of newer missiles that provide longer range and better performance. Second, the F-35 fleet, despite not being a dedicated air superiority platform, is being employed in ways that maximize its sensor fusion and networking capabilities. F-35s can act as sensor nodes, feeding targeting data to other platforms, including upgraded F-15EXs armed with long-range missiles. This creates a distributed combat capability that's harder for adversaries to counter than concentrating everything on a single platform type. Third, and perhaps most cleverly, the Air Force is accelerating the CCA program, those collaborative combat aircraft we've been discussing. These unmanned systems are intentionally designed to be cheaper and faster to develop than manned fighters. The first CCAs could potentially enter service before the F-47, providing an unmanned capability boost that can work with F-22s and F-35s in the interim. Think of it as building the supporting cast before the star arrives on stage. This is why NGAD matters. The F-47 NGAD won't just be the world's first sixth-generation fighter. It will be a glimpse into the future of warfare itself, a future where human judgment and machine speed combine in unprecedented ways, where the air domain integrates seamlessly with space, cyber, and electromagnetic warfare to create effects that are far greater than the sum of their parts. So, as we stand on the threshold of this sixth-generation revolution, as the F-47 NGAD moves from concept to reality, with first flight just a few years away in 2028, do you think manned fighters still have a place in modern warfare? Or are we building one last generation of piloted aircraft before the machines take over completely? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive into the F-47 NGAD program valuable, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our future coverage. Until next time.